Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
We've got Mr. Berg in the studio before he heads off to Rapids tomorrow for State's 8-player state championship game.
Right.
So.
Well, the way you introduced me, I thought you were going to have me leave right now.
No, not
Before
yet,
he leaves in 10 minutes.
Yeah, get out of here.
All right, well, I see how it is.
Start walking to Rapids. So, yeah, it'd be a scenic walk at least a little bit after you get off the highway. And
Right.
you know.
I feel like it'd be a lot of Highway 12 and Highway 10.
Yeah, yep. So, how you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Not bad. So, plenty of football chat coming up here, but I should note we got baseball award season going on. I can't believe this is I saw the Brewers post this, Brandon. Matt Arnold's the first executive to win the award, executive of the year twice. That surprised me. Now, I don't know if it's the first. Maybe they met first back to back. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, on their Facebook, first ever executive, multiple executive winner. So
Right, and I think sometimes that's similar to like the manager of the year, where generally the person that wins it is someone who maybe exceeded the expectations the most.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously the Brewers, I think, in back-to-back years kind of did that in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Yep.
the hunt for 3 in a row, I think, will be pretty tough for either of them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's actually a little surprising.
Yeah, it says the first ever to win multiple executive of the year awards. So that really surprises me.
Well, he got a promotion at the beginning of the offseason. There's probably a reason why.
He did. Is Pat Murphy going to get a promotion, though, too, to maybe a little pay raise and such? But
I mean, he's entering his final year next year. I mean, I'm sure that'll be a topic of discussion, I'm sure, in the offseason.
I would hope so at this point. So, especially since they're not going to have a bench coach or associate manager.
Well, as long as he would
wants to keep doing it. Yeah,
want to do it beyond that.
Right, exactly. But I don't think really any surprises from this award season, this award week, if you will. I mean, Paul Skeens, Skubal getting Cy Youngs, the MVPs. I still would have voted for Cal, just me personally.
I think I would have too, but I mean, that was one of those where there were 2 really good, contenders at the top, and inevitably, obviously, someone was gonna, kind of get the short end of that, and unfortunately, it was the big dumper.
Yep. So, and I do like that they'd started this, was it a couple or a few years ago, the all MLB teams now too, which Peralta and Terang made all second MLB team last night. It was announced as well, which, again, I don't think everybody's got like too big of a bone to pick with that.
No.
So, I mean, maybe if Terang would have won Gold Glove at second, he would have been all, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
either way, I mean, look, if you go back to the start of the year and you would say Bryce Terang would be in that spot, I don't think you'd have very many Brewers fans that were disappointed.
Right. Or Freddie in that spot, too.
Even Peralta, for that matter, given he was going to be the unquestioned leader at the top.
Mm-hmm. So, a lot of, I don't know if you had a chance, I was talking about it a little bit earlier this week from, I think it was Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon kind of had a piece, because GM meetings were going on in Vegas this week, and one of the notes was about Brandon Woodruff and kind of like what's the game plan here. And as they noted too, with the Brewers willing to put that qualifying offer out there and that money and such, maybe that's a sign for other teams to say, hey, the Brewers think he's healthy enough that maybe we'll make a run at him in this offseason. Now, obviously Matt Arnold also said that we want him, he's a Brewer and such, but that to me is going to be something fascinating to watch when it comes to the Brandon Woodruff decision this offseason.
Right, because it is, I mean, it's kind of, to me, it's the first big one as far as the Brewers go, because if he comes back, if he accepts the offer or they're reaching an extension, whatever, then I don't think you see much else movement as far as the rotation.
Right.
Assuming, I mean, and I've been on the assumption all along I think Freddie Peralta will be around next year. So,
and I want to get to that here and after this.
So, those 2 at the top, and then you kind of, go with the younger guys behind that. I think that would probably be the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that's kind of the first domino, I think.
Yep. And then the Freddie one, which we had Bob Nightingale, I think it was late last week or maybe earlier this week, and his write-up say Brewers aren't shopping him. And then you had comments from Matt Arnold, which it kind of in some ways said, well, maybe they're open. I get the sense, though, Brandon, that they're not shopping him. But if somebody's willing to call and offer something, Matt Arnold will listen, but it doesn't mean he's actively shopping the guy.
Right, and that's why I think just in general in trade talks, I'm always of the belief of like, well, you can always listen.
Right.
You never know what someone's going to offer until you let them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, I wouldn't be in a big hurry to move Freddie Peralta, but if a team, made an offer where they thought, okay, this is maybe the move that gets us over the top, like, and we will present an offer that reflects that, like,
right.
Okay.
Right.
Then you have to listen.
Right.
But I would not be in a particular hurry to do it.
Yeah, and I almost wonder, was that kind of the Corbin Burns one where they weren't in a hurry? He goes, it's right before spring training happened, right?
Right.
And I get the sense that, hey, I'm not going to be the one making the phone calls. If you want to call me, sure, and we'll see. Not guaranteeing anything, sort of thing. Call me maybe, sort of thing. Carly Rae Jepsen.
I was going to say, it seems very high school there.
Yeah.
Maybe back in the day, I don't know if kids are calling these days, but it's just a matter of like, I can't call, you have to call me kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you kind of understand why.
Right. Yep. $8 million, Brewers would have.
That's something even the Brewers can afford.
Yeah.
That's a big part of this is if you just let it play out, versus I think, Corbin Burns in his last year arbitration was making a little more than $15 million.
Yes.
So it's almost double.
Right.
Like that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, did we talk about the Contreras option? Was that after we were done?
I forget. I don't remember if we did, but it's.
I'm not surprised either.
No, it's kind of to me it's a big nothing. This is kind of basically one of two things were going to happen, and both of them involved with him still being in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, arbitration is such a double-edged sword. I feel like
it is.
A lot of
it
instances.
Is, and it can be. I understand how it can be confusing to fans sometimes because you hear, they declined his option. Well, wait, they're letting. No, it's like no. If you in his case. Even though they declined his option, they still had team control, so then they could decline his option with the idea of going to arbitration or settling beforehand, kind of thing. So
yeah, and it's one of those like, do feelings get hurt? And it's such a weird process that I think we really found out more about it with the Corbin Burns one, where it's like,
and that was probably also an example of maybe not the best handled in either way,
right? Because you got a team that's saying, well, we want him. But he kind of didn't do this well, so you're trying to get the lower. And it's like
you're arbitrating. You're literally each you present a number of what you want to pay, and then you explain why.
Right.
And both those teams are in those hearings. So in that hearing, Corbin Burns heard the Brewers say, "Hey, we value this guy, but at the same time, we value him less than his camp values him because X, Y, and Z," and then you have to kind of hear those things.
Right, exactly. So it's a very weird. I'm surprised more teams go through it. Well, sometimes we see the deadlines, right, where a team agrees to a 1-year deal before arbitration,
right,
and such.
You just avoid it, you just realize, and that's generally what happens. Mm-hmm. And
it could happen with Contreras.
It's true. Yeah, it could happen any time. At any point, you could just say, "Oh, the Brewers and William Contreras avoid arbitration on a 1-year, $11 million, whatever it be." I don't know. But,
because I'm sure some fans were like, "Wait a minute, they didn't pick up his option. Why are they getting rid of him?" Well, no,
they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
And before you kind of look at that and say, "Well, they're just doing that to be cheap," it's like the Red Sox did the exact same thing with, I think, it's Johan Duran. So it's not, or Jared Duran, sorry, the outfielder.
Oh, yep.
So it's not like, this is kind of something that happens. It's not like this is the Brewers just doing it. If the Red Sox are even doing it, it's like, well, it's probably more along the lines of this is just kind of one of the operating procedures.
Right.
Things that teams will do.
Right. So, but yeah, we're, it's that time of year. We're getting close. December's really that's the winter league meetings, I think.
Yeah.
So that's when a lot of stuff happens.
I think it's like the second weekend maybe in December, but that's where a lot of the, not just the talking goes, but honestly, a lot of times it's the framework for trades and stuff where two teams will talk at the meeting and maybe they'll circle back in a week or two and they'll kind of have the framework of, we know, this is what this team is looking for and, we're interested in player X and that kind of stuff.
Right. So Pat Murphy, Matt Arnold, who's more valuable to the franchise right now? You got to pick one. No cop-outs on this one.
No. I am going to go Matt Arnold.
Okay.
And look, obviously, all the respect in the world for what Pat Murphy's done, but I just feel like in baseball, it's so much more of an organizational-wide thing that I would feel confident that if they need to find another manager, and look, in the next few years they might have to if Pat Murphy just decides to retire and be done.
Yep.
I would have the confidence that he would lead an organization that could do that.
So, for what it's worth, I will make my answer here, but I will say this. I almost feel like this type of relationship is very similar to the head coach and quarterback in the NFL. Like, the whole Brady and Belichick, who gets more credit sort of thing. To me, it's like, well, Montana had Walsh, Starr had Lombardi.
Right. We've had this conversation. There aren't very many great quarterbacks that haven't had the coach and vice versa.
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I would argue like this one, you could make the case Murphy and Matt Arnold. I feel like the GM and head coach, and you can say it for any sport, especially like football too. As long as those two are on the same page, you're going to be in good shape.
You have to speak the same language. Like as the person that brings in the talent, you have to be able to understand and communicate to your coach what you're looking to accomplish, and the coach has to understand that.
So I think this marriage, it is what it is. It's a marriage.
Sports marriage.
Yep, works perfectly. Sure, Pat Murphy probably would be, and he's kind of made some comments like, "Oh, we would, sign this guy. That's just not what we do." It probably makes a manager's job a little bit easier. Let's be real, right? But I also think the approach for the Brewers and Matt Arnold with these younger guys, it fits Pat Murphy's style.
It does. It does.
So that's where I probably agree with you a little bit with Matt Arnold.
And maybe it's on Matt Arnold's shoulders to not provide Pat Murphy with too many Brandon Lockridge types, because Murphy would love them all.
He loves Caleb Durbin though too,
and that's the thing. And look, and I was going to say like a Sal Frelick or like a Bryce Strang, but obviously we've seen those guys make incremental growth. Whereas, no disrespect to Brandon Lockridge, but he's more of a fourth or fifth outfielder type guy.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yes, maybe you got to save Pat for himself.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I think that's fair. That's fair. So, but no, and that's not to diminish either one of these. It's just
a symbiotic relationship. It takes them both.
It is, and I think the Brewers. I hate to say it, that they almost luck out with some of this stuff. I mean, Matt Arnold was an assistant at Stearns. Stearns leaves.
Yeah.
Craig Counsell leaves.
Yeah, or have you just put yourself in that position?
That's true.
Like, which
creating depth,
right?
I don't know, but would you say Matt Arnold has already done a better job in his short tenure as executive than David Stearns?
It's tough for me because Stearns started down more. Mm-hmm. Because when he took over the team, I think it was after 2015. Obviously, they were very much in the throes of a big rebuild. Mm-hmm. Matt Arnold kind of took the baton from Stearns and has done great things. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could say that for Arnold, just because Stearns had to build up more.
Mm-hmm. Right. And Stearns, to me, is it's going to be interesting to look back at his career, I feel like, too, because he did a great job with Milwaukee, right? I mean, he did a really good job with the scouting and that. But then to go to a bigger market where you just can write checks in that,
and
does that affect your way?
Right,
you get too far away to what made you good.
Right, if you grow up and you're more value conscious on things, and then you win the lottery, and you're able to go and spend more, are you suddenly going to kind of get maybe your priority, not necessarily priorities, but like your values out of whack a little bit?
Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm kind of curious. Does that affect a guy like David Stearns?
Right.
Because I feel like if you hire somebody, you hire them because of what they did. And what David Stearns did was find players at value.
Right.
But you go to ownership and a team that's...
Yeah. But then the other thing, too, is like, is that less valuable with the Mets than it is with the Brewers?
Yeah.
And if you're the fans, you probably value that less than you do with the Brewers. Hey, David Stearns found Yuli Chassin, and he was the ace on a team that was game for the World Series in 2018. That's awesome. If you're a Mets fan, are you if you find that value in a guy like that, are you excited? Are you saying, why don't you just pay more money and go get Dylan Cease?
Mm-hmm. Right. No, you're exactly right. But it's like that's the expectations of taking that type of a job, though.
And
too,
that's
right?
and I mean, obviously, and that was his team when he was a kid. So like, he's getting a chance to lead his favorite team when he was a kid. Mm-hmm. But he sure understood, like, your expectations raise. Mm-hmm. If you accomplish what you did in Milwaukee with the Mets, is that viewed as a success for David Stearns?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, you do have to factor the owner, too, who is pretty,
Right. Where, look, I'm sure Mark Anasu, he would love to win a World Series and stuff, but like we've heard, like they want to be consistent, competitive. Bites of the apple. Are bites of the apple good enough in the Big Apple?
Right.
I'm not sure.
No, that's a fair point. So, you brought up a good point too earlier on about contract-wise, Pat Murphy heading into his final year with this deal. and he's not a spring chicken. Let's be real, but he sure doesn't look like a guy that's.
It's Pete Carroll-like.
It is. It's very and he's got younger kids too. So
right.
It's,
so so he's a I don't know I forgot how old he is, but he is a spry, however old he is.
Has like Matt Arnold addressed that at all? I haven't seen any comments about
it. And because that hasn't been addressed, and there's so many. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just assuming, okay, well, it's going to get done. However,
remember the Craig Counsell saying,
exactly. So it's like maybe it's one of those things like it's not a conversation until it has to be a conversation.
Right.
But let's put it this way: if you go into next spring training, then it's a conversation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And as much as Murph would probably not want that to be a distraction, I think he would have to understand why those questions are going to be asked because it just happened with somebody else.
Yep.
So that's why I would not be concerned about it until spring training if it doesn't happen. Next February, if they show up and he's only under contract for one more year, then
yeah,
I think there's going to be some conversation. And at the very least, he's going to be asked about it.
Yep.
Because
then it's going to be the whole speculation part. Is it him that doesn't want to do it, or is it the Brewers?
Right.
Which I don't know why the Brewers wouldn't want to do it, but
right.
Is it a cheap thing
again? And again, this is something that could be remedied next week.
It could be. Yeah, don't want to get too wound up about it right now, but
right.
I mean, he has definitely earned a huge pay raise.
He has, and with the thing with him is, I'm sure the extensions and you don't always hear like the length of those. I would think like a 2-year extension, because you're not going to get too far ahead because again, he's not super young,
right?
So where if you got another couple years, fine. Kind of a thing. Because,
I mean, I just quick Googled it. Dave Roberts is the highest, 8.1. Craig Counsell's at 8. Alex Cora's at 7.3. Torrey from Arizona is at 5. And all those guys have gone to a World Series, except for Craig Counsell. Because Diamondbacks just went a couple of years ago, right?
Right, yeah. Under Torrey Lovello. Yeah, under Torrey Lovello, yeah.
Aaron Boone, 5. Stephen Vogt's got 4.
Yeah. I would honestly put him in that Stephen Vogt, Aaron Boone range as far as
because I mean the new Giants one's now $3 million. Yep.
So and we don't know what he's making now. I don't believe.
No, I think they said speculated between 1 and 2.
Okay, so no, I would say a nice healthy bump up there.
I would think he absolutely deserves that too.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think anybody would have any issue.
Right.
For crying out loud. I mean, heck, Stephen Vogt got that contract before he became back-to-back manager of the year.
Right.
So, I mean, does his value go up too?
Maybe.
And if that does, doesn't Pat Murphy's go up?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how long Vogt's is, though. If his is a 3-year, 2.
I don't know either.
Not sure. But, I mean, that's interesting that they gave him a 4 for a first-time manager. And for a franchise that doesn't spend a whole lot either.
Yeah, that tells you how much they wanted him.
Yeah. And I remember when we were going through this, you threw his name out there.
He was someone high on my list I wanted in Milwaukee. Like, he is... You could just tell when he was a player that he was going to have the right mind and temperament for an MLB manager.
Were you a little surprised he got named manager of the year, though, over like Schneider from Toronto?
A little bit. This year, yeah. I thought Schneider, remember, these are voted on after the regular season, so what happens in the postseason doesn't matter. But to see what they did with Toronto was a team with expectations, but still, they were the number 1 seed. They were the best team in the American League. And it's so tough to win it twice, especially back-to-back.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I would say the scenario for Pat Murphy is a scenario that has to play out where, you meet expectations year 1, and then year 2, you have to be the best team and you have to have your other division winners be established teams. Yep. It wasn't going to be Dave Roberts over Pat Murphy. It wasn't going to be Thompson over Pat Murphy. The wild card teams, the Padres, the Cubs. Obviously Francona had something in there with the Reds, but they were a distant third wild card team. Mm-hmm. So, there was no one else that really came out of nowhere enough to supersede Pat Murphy.
What would Pat Murphy have to do next year to win it for 3 years in a row? You're talking about maybe over 100 wins.
Yeah, it's going to have to be 105, 110 wins.
Yeah.
And you're going to almost have the exact same scenario where the Dodgers, the Phillies, otherwise it'll just be someone else. That's just how that award is. It's like the NFL with Coach of the Year. You don't see many multi-year winners. Kevin Stefanski, the reason he did is because it was with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. It's almost they would have to trade Freddie Peralta. and still win 105 games. Something ridiculous like that.
Right, and then he's next thing you know, he's pulling out like a 5-egg omelet out of his pocket or something.